So today we're going to continue with our theme of product development, right? We're going to read a couple of interesting articles. But I just want to recap. Let's just do a quick refresh of the different stages of product development, right? So the first step, right? Let's talk about this, right? We're going to talk about product. So the first step, I'll help you guys with the first step, right? The first step is an idea, or a concept. C-O-N-C-E-P-T, right? That's easy. You know, you have an idea for something, right? Maybe you're walking to work someday, or you wake up someday, or your friend, you're talking to your friend, and you have an idea, right, for a product. It could be anything, right? What's the next step? What's the next step, do you think? You're thinking of creating a product, right? Just ignore that, don't worry about that. So what's the next step? Jim, do you have any ideas? Think about it. So you have this idea, and you guys think that, okay, we think that this product is going to work, right?
Please be advised, we will be conducting a test on the building's fire alarm system. Please disregard any alarm salts or fire tones you may hear. This is only a test.
So that's the idea. Right, that's fine. So
Thank you
that's
for your
good.
cooperation.
So the next step is like planning, right? Okay, so you have an early concept, and from the concept, you plan, right? You plan what is this product exactly going to be, who is it for, right? What's our audience? Who is our market, right? Where are we going to sell the product? What's the third step? Remember, you're trying to develop the product, right? What's the third step, you guys think?
Courage.
What's that?
Courage.
Not courage. No, that's different, right? Courage that's a good point, but that's more about the team, right? Or when that's more about your philosophy. That's kind of inside of concept, right? Right? And maybe something is very revolutionary, right? A product is very revolutionary.
Prototype.
Before the prototype. So the prototype is like the fourth stage, okay? So there's a third stage in between planning, but prototyping, right? Prototyping or early samples, right? If it's like clothes, right? You make samples. But think about it. What do you need?
Testing?
Testing is generally part of prototyping, right? But what do you need? You have a plan, something that doesn't exist, right? To turn a plan or an idea into a prototype, what do you need?
Money.
Money, good. So we're going to call it funding, okay? Funding, excellent. Right? So you need funding, right? Either you guys use your own money. If you have savings, right, in the bank, you're like, okay, we each have $50,000, and four of us are going to put it together, and that $200,000 is going to help us create a prototype or an early sample, right? Or if you need more money than that, then we're going to approach Minsu's dad, maybe, who's a wealthy man, and we're going to tell him that, you know, this is our plan, right, for this concept, and we want to offer you a share of the business, but we need $1 million, right? So that you need that funding, right? So once again, we have an idea, right? The idea becomes a plan, right? We create a plan. It could be a presentation, right? It could be a formal document with pictures, right, that has ideas of what our concept is going to look like. After that, we look for funding. Either we self-fund it with our own money, or we look for someone who has the income, right? The next step is obviously prototyping. We take that money, the investment, either the investor's money or the money that we put in, and we create an early version of it, right? We prototype and we create a sample, right? What comes next? What do you think comes next?
So the first testing, right?
Yeah, so this is like prototyping, early samples, we can even put /testing.
Oh, how about marketing?
Advertising.
Marketing and advertising. Okay, so there's what we're going to do is we're going to put a fifth. So we're going to put a fifth step before them. But let's talk about that, right? So we have marketing and advertising. And advertising. Right? But like
Hypothesis? No?
not a hypothesis, right? Now, as you guys are prototyping, right? What is a prototype is a very early version. right? It's sort of a very early version. But you don't sell a really early version, do you? You test the version many times, right? And you see if this is ready to be sold to the market, right? You arrive at a final version, right? So if you want to sell a lot of these, right, what do you have to do? This one, I think this one's a little tough, so I'll help you guys out. You have to mass produce it, right? So think about it. Imagine we come up with a prototype, right, for this marker, right? And we keep testing it, and we come up with a version that we think is final. Then we still have only like one of these, or two of these, or a few of these. We have to create a lot of them, right? Because we think we're going to sell it, right? So what we're going to do is we mass produce, mass production, right? So mass means a lot, right? Mass means massive. Massive. Massive means something very big. Mass in this sense means a lot of, right? So we mass produce it, right? We create a lot of these. And these two things actually usually happen at the same time, right? Because when you start marketing and advertising, there's a group of people who immediately want to buy something, right? Like for instance, when Sony released the PlayStation 3, right? There was a group of people who are such fans of technology in general that they wanted to buy the PlayStation 3 the first day that it came out, right? So think about it. You spent 6 months advertising it, that it's coming, it's coming, it's coming on this day. What was it, 2007? 2007 when it came out, right? So on day one, when there's 10,000 people lined up outside the store, you have to have all the units, right? You have to have mass-produced the final version of the PlayStation 3 or this marker, right? Because there's people who are already waiting. The minute that you start advertising it, right? Maybe some people wait, but advertising and marketing is something that just continues, right? So these two things usually happen together, almost together, but then, and they continue as well, right? Because as you keep selling, you have to keep producing, right? It becomes more and more popular.
Mass production means you have to make a factory or something.
Well,
right.
Usually something that is mass produced is created in a factory. So yes. So I'm saying like even if you're creating like this means with your jacket, right? So if that's our product, right? We have to mass produce that, right? So we go to a clothing factory, right? A mill, a textile mill, and we have to create 20,000 pieces, right? And then as it becomes more popular, we have to create, maybe in 1 month in the beginning, we can make 20,000, right? But now we're getting more and more orders. So we have to make 50,000, 60,000, 100,000, right? Because it's become really popular. So mass production and marketing are really two things that continue, right? Because at that point, you don't need to prototype anymore. You're mass producing the final version. You don't really need funding anymore because you're getting money, right? You're profiting. Everything that we sell, we're getting money from it, right? So, that money is paying for your continuous mass production and all your other costs, also for your marketing and your advertising, right? Right? So basically, you're not really worried about these parts much anymore. You're really just focusing on producing and marketing it, right? But there's one last thing, right?
Final development.
Not final development, because final development happens right at the end of prototyping, right? Your final product. But think about it, after you sell something, right? What if people have issues with it, or they need help, right? Who do you call? Who do you call? You call the company, right?
Right.
So basically a customer service, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna call that basically like, we can call it customer service. Right?
And then, so there's no such thing as improvements? Like a new version? Like,
But when you're talking about improvement, you know what you're doing? Pedro, that's a really good point. When you're doing improvements, or you want to come up with the next season's idea, you're actually going all the way back to here.
okay.
Think about it, right? Because you have an idea for an improvement. We think this material is great, but you know what? Next year, we're going to make this, and we're also going to make a lighter version. So that when it's April, when it's May, when it's a little bit like less chilly, something light that the guys can wear outside, right? So we go back and we do all these steps. We get the idea, we plan, we look at maybe we have $30 million in profits, right? And we decide that $10 million we're going to use to fund the development of this new type of jacket, right? And we prototype it, we test it, we mass produce it and market it at the same time, and we start selling it. I mean, I guess you could obviously, you could probably make this step 8, and you probably have a step 7 in here, which is really sales, right? You just start selling it. Sales. You just start selling it, whether you're selling in stores, whether maybe we could have a website, right? Where everyone just like sells on the website, right? But sales and customer support, marketing, mass production, these steps always keep going. You might not think about these steps, but these are really the 8 fundamental factors, right? These are the 8 principal steps of product development, right? So this is just something to keep in mind because today we're actually going to read a really, really interesting article, okay? And it's something that I wrote. I did a bunch of research and I put something together, right? And we're going to look at a very interesting example of product development. So how many of you guys are fans of movies? Do you guys watch a lot of movies? You guys, Minsu, do you watch a lot of movies?
But not much.
Okay, but sometimes, right? Like sometimes we like to get together with our friends, go watch a new movie or watch a classic movie from like 30, 40 years ago, right? So films. Film, creating a film is a really, really interesting example of product development, okay? So I'm going to pass out an article, and what we're going to do is we are going to sir. Let's see. So what we're going to do is we are going to read this article together, which is entitled Filmmaking as a Form of Product Development. Okay? So what I want you guys to do, right, is as we read this article, we've just talked about the 8 steps of product development, right? As we go through this article, right, you're going to see many parallels. You're going to see these ideas come up, okay? So we're going to go through it, and we're going to talk about what the article is telling us. So Minsu, would you read the first 2 paragraphs, please?
Filmmaking as a form of product development. When you think of films, the first instinct is usually to consider them works of art. After all, a film begins with a story. The story is then brought to life by actual dialogue, locations, visuals, sounds, music, and special effects. All of those areas are generally seen as art forms. However, at the end of the day, movies are products just as much as they are art. As in the development of any product, there are similar steps taken, such as creating a concept, researching and understanding the market, gaining a source of funding, going through several rounds of prototyping, and finally developing a finished product. There are 4 principal areas in filmmaking: develop, production, and post-production. Let's explore each of these areas in greater detail.
Okay. So, the introduction to this article is really saying that generally speaking, right, when you think of film, you think that it's art. You think of, what is art? What are examples of art? So what's an example of art?
Musician.
Yeah, music, right? Music is an example of art. Pedro, what's an example of art?
Movies?
Well, a different example.
Arts. I think dance.
Yeah, okay. So dance, music. Shin, what's an example of art? Painting?
No,
Is that what
I
you're
mean, I forgot the word, but from sea, it's made like using
Carving. Oh, wood carving. Right.
wood carving.
Wood carving. Okay, that's cool.
Fashion too, right?
Yeah, fashion is tech. Fashion, a lot of people think of it as art, right? So there's a lot of different versions of art, right? There's fashion, there's carving, there's there's pottery, right? There's painting, sketching. So many different types of art, right? And you see a lot of these, even acting, right? Acting is technically an art, right? A lot of people say they're artists.